Hey, I'm firearms attorney Gilbert Ambler, and by now I am sick of talking about it, and I'm sure you're sick of hearing about it, but we've got additional issues that have popped up with the ATF's rule on pistol braces that we need to discuss. And I'm talking about these because people keep calling my office, coming up with new things that they could do that could get themselves arrested today. And so I want to talk about it so that none of you find yourselves in this position. Before we dive into it, if you have not yet hit subscribe, if you have not yet liked us, like it, share it, comment. That way you and your friends can keep getting this pro-Second Amendment related content. All right, now when it comes to pistol braces, you all understand that the ATF, as of January 31st, waved their magic wand and declared all braced pistols now SBRs. The ATF at the same time said they would offer enforcement discretion and not prosecute you for the sole possession of the SBR up until May 31st of 2023. Now, after May 31st of 2023, ATF says you need to either have submitted an application to properly register the item, gotten rid of the brace, leaving it just as a pistol, turned it into the ATF. That's a terrible idea. Don't do that. Or finally, turned it into a rifle by adding a barrel longer than 16 inches and an overall length of at least 26 inches. And if you do one of these things by May 31st, ATF says they won't prosecute you. Okay? However, there are several things that the ATF has not offered enforcement discretion for that we need to talk about today because it's a common practice for gun owners or owners of braced pistols to do these things. First thing we need to talk about is traveling across state lines. Because I know prior to January 31st, 2023, your braced pistol was a pistol in your eyes, and you could travel across state lines to any other state that either didn't prohibit it based off some ridiculous magazine capacity or something like that, and where you had concealed carry reciprocity. If you had a concealed carry permit, you could go to a neighboring state that also recognized that permit, and you could carry your braced pistol. And for that reason, many people did carry braced pistols in their vehicles with them. Well, as of January 31st, ATF says that that is no longer a braced pistol, that's an SBR, and if it's an SBR, we need prior approval from the ATF before we cross a state line, okay? This comes from 18 U.S.C. 922A4, okay? 18 U.S.C. 922A4 says that prior to crossing the state line with either a machine gun, a destructive device, a short-barreled shotgun, or in relevant part here, a short-barreled rifle, you need to get approval from the director, and in this case, it's through the ATF, all right? Now, for the ATF to give someone approval to cross a state line with an SBR, they need to first make sure that it is a registered SBR, and of course, in this scenario, your braced pistol is probably not yet registered, even if you have elected or made the decision that you intend to register it. Probably not there. So if you were to cross state lines with it today before you get a tax stamp for it, you are now violating 18 U.S.C. 922A4, and the penalty is imprisonment of up to 5 years. We find that penalty in 18 U.S.C. 924A1B. Okay, that's where we find that penalty, punishable by up to 5 years. So serious penalty. You do not want to cross state lines with your pistol post January 31st of 2023. Second thing you could do today that would get you arrested today if the ATF learned about it is transferring a braced pistol. Prior to January 31st, 2023, as a pistol, you could transfer it provided you were following whatever laws your state had. Here in Virginia, although we have universal background checks, there are a couple of exceptions. One of the exceptions is for a gifted firearm. I could gift a handgun to somebody else as long as I didn't receive anything of value for it. However, now, after January 31st of 2023, if I gift a braced pistol, well, the ATF says I'm not actually gifting a braced pistol. They say I'm gifting a short-barreled rifle, and if I'm gifting a short-barreled rifle, I better follow the procedures. I better have a Form 4 approval before I gift it or transfer it to that new person, okay? Because the ATF has said they won't prosecute you for possession, but the transfer would still be a crime in the eyes of the ATF, so do not transfer a pistol with a brace installed. Third thing you could do right now that would get you arrested is make a new braced pistol. How would people get themselves in trouble with this? Well, when you jump on the internet, you see lots of people that have the bright idea that they're going to go buy stocks, put the stocks on their pistols, and then submit it and think they're going to get a free tax stamp. This is going to attract some unwanted attention from the ATF if you attempt to do this, and here's why. If you put the stock on prior to January 31st, I'm not talking about a brace, I'm talking about an actual stock on a pistol prior to January 31st, 2023, with no tax stamp, then even under the old set of rules, you were committing a crime, and if you were to turn that into the ATF, I would expect them to prosecute you for that. ATF says you cannot make a new SBR or new brace pistol after January 31st of 2023. So if you say, well, I didn't put the stock on before January 31st, I put the stock on after January 31st, please give me my free tax stamp. ATF is also going to say, no, you made that after our rule went into effect, and that would also be something that they could enforce against you, that they come after and prosecute you for. So if you are in that state of mind where you think you've got the bright idea, you're going to go make a bunch of SBRs, you're going to put stocks on pistols, and you're going to get them registered, the making after January 31st, as it was before January 31st, clearly a crime. Well, what about just adding pistol braces, not putting actual stocks post January 31st? Say I've got a bunch of pistols, I'm going to go buy a bunch of braces, I'm going to add braces to these pistols, and I'm going to get a bunch of free registrations that way. While this would be much harder for the ATF to track down and practically prosecute you for, if they could prove that you were assembling these things, in their eyes, making short-barreled rifles after the effective date of the rule on January 31st, that is also something where they have not said that they will not prosecute you. In fact, the inference is they likely would prosecute you if they learned of that conduct. Okay? So again, just to recap, 3 things you could do right now where the ATF would arrest you today prior to May 31st, which is when they say they will start enforcement of possession alone of a brace pistol. Number 1, travel across state lines. Easy way to get yourself in trouble. Number 2, transfer a braced pistol. Okay, again, can't transfer them. Number 3, can't transfer them without a valid Form 4. And of course, in this case, if you haven't yet Formed 1'd it and received approval, you're not going to get Form 4 approval. Number 3, a situation where you decide you're going to make additional braced pistols after January 31st, or turn in something that has an actual stock attached, which the ATF would say was a crime if you did it even prior to January 31st. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this content. If you have not yet hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that for us. Until next time.